Hoya? Well, come on then. Hello again and welcome to part 2 of my houseplant tour. Now you don't need to have seen part 1 in order to enjoy this part, but if you would like to see absolutely everything right from the start, I will link part 1 down below. Before we get back into the plants though, if you're new here, hi, my name's Claire and this is Yoli. I make videos all about houseplant care, sharing tips and tricks I've learnt over the years to help keep your plants happy and healthy. And yeah, let's pick up where we left off, shall we? So I hope you enjoy it. Let's get into it. So if you haven't watched part 1 yet, we've looked at the living room, we've been through the kitchen and dining room plants, and we're now in my main planty space, which is where all of the really exciting plants are. Okay, let's go. Around the waggy dog. This one, so again, this is a plant that's had another fern just randomly pop up in it, which I do really like the look of. However, this was my cordyline plant and I chopped it right back because of pests. And actually, just looking there, I can see the start. Oh, why isn't the camera focusing? I don't know why that's not focusing, but there is the start of a little growth point, which is good. I chopped it back about a month ago, I think. Maybe not even that long. So yeah, hopefully that will regrow. I am propagating the section that I took in water upstairs. So yeah, hopefully I'll be able to get a nice full plant back soon. But then at the back here, this is another Aglaonema, but this one is a little bit different from the others that I've shown you so far. This is my Aglaonema pictum tricolour. I've also just got Yoli right here. My Aglaonema pictum tricolour, and I love this Aglaonema. However, it is a little bit more finicky compared... Sorry, she's really snuggly. I think I might need to take a moment and have a quick cuddle with her and then carry on filming. Okay, I think she's off. So yes, as I started to say, this one is a little bit different to the other types of Aglaonema that I've shown so far. Firstly, just in regards to how it looks, like not just the pattern of the leaves, but you might just notice like the texture of this one is a little bit, like it's much more velvety, and this is a slightly more sensitive plant. Every other type of Aglaonema I've shown you so far, I would say would be like a perfect beginner plant, whereas this one is one that previously, although nowadays I find it quite easy, in the past I have struggled with it quite a bit. I am growing it in semi-hydro, which I do find makes my life a lot easier. But yeah, it's one that does enjoy slightly higher levels of light. Like I wouldn't put this in some of the dark spots that I've put some of my other Aglaonema in. But recently I noticed that it put out this teeny tiny leaf compared to the size of the leaves that it usually gives me. And then when I looked in the middle, I was like, that's because it's getting ready to flower. And it did give me 2 flowers, and I did decide to chop them both back just because a lot of the time Aglaonema, well, in fact, all plants, but specifically talking about this genus, when it puts a lot of, oh my God, Yoli, you're back, crept up on me, hello. It will put a lot of energy into producing flowers, and that will really impact the foliage, hence why you do see very small leaves like this. Yes, indeed. Also worth mentioning that Aglaonema is not a pet-friendly genus. I'm very lucky with her in the sense that typically she doesn't show any attention. She's never tried eating the plants or anything like that. A lot of houseplants actually are toxic. There's obviously some that aren't, but also with animals, a lot of the plants they come into contact with every day outdoors are toxic. So that's not to say you shouldn't always watch houseplants, but I often get questions about it and I'm like, no, she's been fine. I think monitoring your pets around your plants is key. But yeah, so in a nutshell, I chop the flowers back personally unless I plan on pollinating. I've never pollinated an Aglaonema. I might do at some point, but so far, oh, good girl. So far, I haven't. So yeah, the exciting thing about this one is that it has also just started putting up 2 new little baby plants. in the substrate down here. So I could divide them. I could essentially propagate the plants and get 3 plants, or I could just let them continue to fill out this main plant, which I think for now is what I'm going to do, especially considering it does tend to get quite bare as the plant grows and matures. It's almost more tree-like. I think I'm going to let it continue to fill out, and then hopefully it will just look lovely and full as it keeps growing. But then let's start down here on this shelf. We've got another set of shelves with lots of things on them. But here I've got my Hoya parasitica black margin. This is another Hoya that I chopped up recently at the same time as the David Cummingii, as the Wilbur Graves, just to kind of reset. And again, really glad that I have. It's giving me beautiful growth now. This is a Hoya as well that doesn't always necessarily need to be on a trellis. It's one that doesn't necessarily tendril loads. Like some of them, oh, is that a mealybug? Oh no, is that a mealybug? Oh no, I don't think it is. I don't think it is. Oh, I'm just on edge with mealybugs now because I've had them so many times. But yeah, this one typically grows in a similar way to the Hoya gracilis that I showed you earlier in this video and doesn't put out big long tendrils looking for something to climb. So I plan on growing this one as a hanging plant as it continues to grow. But yeah, it's very pretty. It's called Hoya parasitica black margin because of the black margins, black edges, which aren't actually, weirdly, aren't as prominent nowadays on some of the older leaves. You can see them a little bit more. But yeah, it's not quite as black margin-y as it once was, and I'm not quite sure why that is. But then at the back, we've got an Apobalis that I have struggled with. I think we're back to an okay place with this plant now, but it's just been drama after drama, and it's not a difficult plant per se. It did not do well when I changed it over to semi-hydro though, and I know sometimes plants can just have a little bit of a dip when you like repot them or do anything out of the ordinary to them, disrupt them in any way, but this one really took a turn and I lost so many leaves. It did also have pests, and again, I think we're in the clear now, but I just ended up having to give it a really big chop back, and so it's looking a little bit sparse, but it's still looking lovely. So yeah, I was going to say as well, this pot, along with actually that lovely pot there, came from a lovely company called Revel Plants, and I will link them down below because they make the most gorgeous planters. They're so pretty. Also, I never sit on the floor here, and I'm aware that I've got my string of hearts, which is hitting me in the head and is getting caught in my hair. So in fact, let's talk about this plant. This one is the string of hearts. Mine is very big now. It goes all the way up to the ceiling, and I am sure I will have to chop and propagate this plant at some point soon because literally I get caught in it all the time. It is also flowering currently. See the little flowers just there? It's so lovely. This is another one that was back on my wish list at the end of last year, and I'm really, really happy that I managed to get it again. It has grown so quickly. I would say it's almost doubled in length in the time that I've had it, and I've had it like less than a year, or about a year, I would say. But yeah, like all this down here at the bottom is all new growth. It's so lovely, but yeah, I am getting a little bit caught in it as I talk to you. But down here, this is, I would say, if I had to be brutal, I would say my favourite begonia. Look at her, she's got 2 beds and our beds upstairs, and she chooses to sleep there. Yeah, I would say this is my favourite begonia out of any begonia in my collection at the moment. It is the Begonia goegoensis, and I just love its foliage. I think it is so weird and so cool and so like turtley. Do you know what I mean? It almost looks like a lovely turtle shell. And the thing that I really love about this one is that, see the like fuzzy little red bits at the base? That's how the leaves start off. That's how they come in. And then they get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until eventually, this one actually is still sizing up, but until they eventually make these big, gorgeous leaves like this. And I have not seen many people that are growing this type of begonia, so I'm not sure exactly how big it can get. But it makes me think of things like the Begonia paulensis, which can get huge. And I have a feeling this one is capable of getting that big. So who knows, maybe this time next year when we look back on this clip, we'll be comparing it to something massive. I do hope so, because yeah, it's just so cool. Again, semi-hydro, I find that a really good way for lots of begonias. I don't grow everything in semi-hydro. I just want to put that out there. I know I'm talking a lot about semi-hydro, but like obviously that's in soil. I've got lots of other things that are also in soil or organic mixes, but yeah, a lot of things at the moment are growing in semi-hydro. And then this is kind of like a little begonia corner down here. I put loads of my begonias down here just to, I don't really know, like group them together with their lighting needs. Oh, this is dehydrated and not looking great, but this is my begonia Amphixius. I can never exactly remember the name of it. It really needs staking up. I was going to put it into a terrarium a while ago and I never did. And it's growing pretty well. It's flowering, as you can see, but I think it just needs help with remaining upright, which I have not done because I've been very lazy. I've just put it in semi-hydro and I've left it. But its little leaves are really lovely. They're very jolly. It is one that doesn't need but enjoys very high levels of humidity. So again, I think because it also produces such small, delicate foliage, it does make a really good terrarium plant. So who knows, when I finally get around to doing my terrarium cabinet, maybe I'll get some of that in there as well. And then the begonia next to it is the Maui Sunset. And oh my God, that one is so pretty. Again, I'll take it out just so that you can see. Oh, bye Yoli, see you later again. But yeah, just look at the colours of that. As you can probably tell from my plant collection, I'm not massive on colour in houseplants. Like, I don't know, there's just something about really, really colourful plants that I can, not always, but can find a little bit jarring. But this one actually Ross picked up as cuttings at a plant swap last year, and I don't know, I was kind of like, yes, I'll look after it for you. It's not what I would have chosen for myself, but I've kind of, I don't know, fallen in love with it is too extreme a way of putting it, but I enjoy growing it. And then I've got another begonia here. Hello, Yoli. Are you asking for something? Do we need to attend to your needs? Do we need to like take you outside or something? Let's just quickly check in with the dog. Not quite sure what that was all about. I took her outside and she just stood there. So I'm not sure, but she seems to have gone to her bed again now. So back to the plants. This begonia, what kind of begonia is this? Begonia White Ice, I think. Again, this is one that would really benefit from a stake of some sort because it's kind of leaning over, and I can imagine if I don't give it some kind of support, it will start to look quite raggedy quite soon. So again, I must do that. At one point, actually, I did just have it growing like up the side of this, and I was going to like tie it to that and see if I could encourage it to again cover the bars of this shelving unit, but I don't know. I'm not sure. It's got such lovely foliage though. I do love the little polka dots. And when they catch the light as well, it's a bit of a dark day to be showing you, but when they catch the light, they shimmer beautifully. I never used to be a begonia person. It's literally only been in the last couple of years that I've more, I wouldn't say completely caught the begonia bug, but have very much. Yeah, actually, you know what? I would say I've caught the begonia bug. There's some that I'm still like, no way. But there's others, like this one, that I'm just like, yeah, it's an awesome plant. This is a begonia that I, however, want to get rid of. This is, it's got some new growth coming up there. And this is a very sad looking begonia Lucuana. Is it a Lucuana? I think it is. Yeah, it's one that like when it looks good, it can look really good. It's got like iridescent leaves. You wouldn't be able to tell right now because it looks so unhappy. And I loved it when I first got it, but oh God, look at the state of those roots as well. No wonder it's looking sad. Yeah, it's just one that I've really fallen out of love with and haven't done enough to revive. So yeah, I think I need to take some cuttings, propagate it, and try and find a good home with someone else, because I don't think yeah, I don't think it's the plant for me at the moment. And then at the back here, I've got my Begonia Iron Cross, which again I got from one of you guys. I got this from, in fact, I'm so sorry, I'm saying that I got this from one of you guys for some of these plants. I've done swaps with loads of you, and loads of my collection is made up of bits of other people's collections, and like thank you to everyone who I've ever swapped with or got plants off. But yes, I got this from Rosie when I was in Malvern. And it was literally the first time, actually no, I was going to say she propped this plant, she propagated her Begonia Iron Cross through leaf cuttings instead of stem cuttings, which actually I've got an example of because I did it for the first time successfully with the Begonia goegoensis, this one here, recently, and it has worked. Look at that. Yay. Haven't decided what I'm doing with these yet, but it feels like such an achievement. But yeah, Rosie had propagated this plant like that and then gave me some cuttings. I mean, they weren't actually starting to produce leaves at that point, but I just put the rooted cuttings into semi-hydro. And now, oh, look at those little leaves coming in as well. Oh my God, they're adorable. But yeah, now you can start to see the plant kind of taking shape more, and you can see those iron cross shapes starting to form on the leaves, which is so cool. I'm really excited about this one. I personally find that cane begonia, ones like this that grow kind of on canes, they kind of have more of a main stem, as opposed to Rex begonia, which is like a rhizome begonia, which has one point in the middle that it grows from, and it doesn't, like, it has individual petioles. That's a really bad way of explaining it. But you know what I mean. I find that cane begonia propagates best whilst done through like stem cuttings, so like propagating in water or sphagnum moss or something like that. And it's the Rex begonias, the ones that don't have the caniness about them, that propagate best from leaf cuttings. Because if you look in there, you can see that's the leaf that I chopped in half. You see? That's the leaf just there that I chopped in half and planted into the sphagnum moss, and that's where everything is sprouting from. So that is just my personal experience. If you are a begonia person or if you do things differently, let me know what you do. But yeah, that is what I have found. Right, let's just pop these back on the shelf. But then, yeah, coming up, I've got one of my Burrows tails. I've actually got 3 Burrows tail in my collection. This one I started, in fact, I was given a couple of sections at a plant swap about 2 years ago, and it has just gone crazy. And it's actually growing really fast for me now. I'm always really nervous when I handle it because I always end up knocking the little leaves off. I know you can propagate them easily. Oh, in fact, oh, damn it. I literally just knocked some off. I know you can, and I often do, just throw them back into the top of the pot and they will like, oh, propagate themselves. But I, as I say, have got 3 in my collection. I've got another one upstairs in my bedroom. I've got another one in our spare room as well. It's just a really easy plant, and it's one that I really enjoy growing, and I think it is just adorable. I love how kind of like bluey it is and how the new growth comes in so green and it looks like little flowers. And yeah, I was never really a massive succulent person, well, actually for a really long time, and this is one of the plants that's made me really love them more. So yeah, I really like it. It definitely doesn't need to be in this space. This one is purely in this room because I like the look of it. Like, I try and keep the conditions in this room, like I try and keep the humidity fairly good and all that sort of stuff, and this one does not care about high humidity. In fact, if it has too high humidity, it can actually start to rot. So yeah, it's not ideal to have that plant in here, but I do. I have it in here. More just because I love the look of it though. But then this is a Hoya I am so excited about. This is a Hoya SP Ake Splash. Ake, no, not Ake Splash. No, it's not. That's a complete lie. It is a Hoya, the species of Hoya red tendon, or subspecies. And if you look at it just like that, it just looks like a normal plant. However, flip it over and look at that gorgeous red tendon that runs all the way down the main leaf. Isn't that just beautiful? So actually, yeah, like holding the plant up, oh, try not to pour it everywhere, and looking at it from underneath. Is that a mealybug? Is that a mealybug? Oh no, not a mealybug. Don't know what that is. What is that? Who knows? But yeah, it's one that I really, really like. This was an Aroid Asia import, I think. But yeah, that is the most recent leaf, the big one there as well, that it has given me fairly recently, that I actually didn't notice until it was pretty much completely in. I just looked at the plant one day and I was like, oh my god, that's huge. But no, I love it. I think it is such a cool Hoya. And then I've got my little Anthurium veitchii, which isn't doing much at the moment. I really want this one to size up. I haven't had the best luck with the veitchii. I had one years ago. That one did the best, and ever since then, every veitchii I've got has encountered loads of issues. And so yeah, I'm kind of back to square one, but it gave me this leaf not that long ago, which I guess is like it's progress. It doesn't seem to be sizing up much though, so we will see. And then at the back on the left, I've got my Anthurium Queen of Hearts, which is actually, I'm really happy with how it's doing at the moment, because obviously it's giving me this gorgeous new shiny leaf that actually is still very much sizing up and hardening off, and I think will be gorgeous when it actually like properly comes in. But it wasn't doing well for a while. I first got the plant and it looked amazing, and then it sat in my very cold show garden for a week, and by the time I got it home, no surprise, the plant was not happy at all. So it lost all of its leaves. I was devastated because this has been a wish list plant for me for ages, and I was just really happy to have it, and then I felt like I didn't have it anymore. But fortunately it is bouncing back. So yeah, long may this continue, and hopefully it just, yeah, grows bigger and more beautiful. I know I'm saying that about loads of my plants, and I don't know what will happen or where they will go if that happens, but I don't know, I just want them all to do really well, you know? And then this Hoya, I can never remember the name of it, so I'm going to have to try and find it and put it on the screen. Again, got it from one of you guys, and it's just a really lovely one. It's really, really nice. I did a little plant swap with one of you guys a while ago, and when I first got it, I remember being told that like you'd been trying to propagate it for I think about 6 months or something, and it just was looking very floppy and wasn't looking good. I put it into my cabinet at the time and I was like, maybe it'll bounce back, and for like, I want to say about 3 months it did nothing, and it just looked like it was on death's door. And all of a sudden I looked at it and I was like, that leaf looks perkier, and then all of a sudden all this growth was thrown out, and the plant since then has done so well. So yeah, whatever it is, I really like it. I'm really happy with it. And then I've got my little variegated bear paw cactus, which again does not usually live down here. I brought it down. Why did I bring this plant downstairs? I actually don't know, because this is one that usually lives in my bedroom. I've got loads of my cacti and succulents along my bedroom window, and I've no idea why this one came downstairs. I left it here, however, because I wanted to show it to you, because it's so pretty, and I really love my variegated bear paw. I love my normal bear paw as well, but my variegated one holds a very special place in my heart. I've grown it from such a teeny tiny thing, and I just find it so rewarding to grow. Again, it's not one that loves high levels of humidity, so long term, probably not the best place to be growing it. I should take it back upstairs. But yeah, it's just very, very sweet. And then I've got a little peperomia. Oh, I've got a name thing in this because I can never remember its name. Peperomia angulata rocca. This one I got as cuttings a while ago, and I don't really know. I've just kind of left it alone, let it grow, and throw some water on it from time to time. And I just think it's quite jolly, and I really like it. I think I'm just going to continue to let it grow weird and wild like this. I might I should actually pot size it up at some point. Again, it's in no drainage. These are actually, these glass containers, they're old candle jars. I'll get like cheap candles, and once I've used the candle, I'll boil them up, get rid of the wax, and then I'll use them for growing. And again, it's cheaper, easier, and more sustainable than buying pots. And then, oh, this Anthurium, this one has been on a bit of a journey, and I'm really glad, again, this is another one that I'm glad I chopped up, but this is the Anthurium Balloballoanum. Never really know how to pronounce it, I only ever see it written down. But this is one that I got when I went to Wisley. Again, I think it's lovely. Look at all that new growth as well. Yay, new leaves coming in. But it was, oh no, just snapped one of its leaves off. Oh, that's sad. It's a bit of a fragile plant apparently. But yeah, it's one that I had wanted for a really long time. Again, I love the mature form of this plant. Oh, that's really sad. Maybe I'll make a skeleton leaf or something out of that. I think I can get artsy with that leaf. But yeah, I wanted it for a really long time, stumbled across it, and then the plant just wasn't growing in the way that I liked, and I was like, okay, you know what, I'm going to chop the whole thing up. So as you can see, if you look at the main stem there, I made some big cuts, and I'm really glad that I did, because it's really filled the plant out. And now that it's starting to size up, I'm like, I'm gonna have a much bushier, bigger plant in the long run because I made that chop. So yeah, don't plan on chopping it again, but I'm excited now to see what it does for me. And then more Hoya here. I will take these ones off the shelf. This is a little mix here. This is Hoya calistophylla and Hoya calistophylla black cat, and they look incredibly similar. I mean, black cat is just a species variation, a cultivar of the calistophylla. So that's, that there is the calistophylla, and that there is the calistophylla black cat. And really the only difference between them is that the black cat has like quite dark spread veination, like it's almost like it's bleeding more, and the leaves are typically more waxy compared to these ones. And basically it happens a lot of the time with houseplants, but like for example the Delta Force that I showed you earlier, that Anthurium just there, that's another example of this. Sometimes just natural mutation will mean that people get a plant that looks a little bit different, like for example this one. And if it's one that people go, oh, you know what, that's really special, let's clone that plant and sell it as a whole new thing, that is what happens. And so that's what's happened with the black cat. There's been a lot of like hype on social media and buzz over the calistophylla black cat. Personally, I think they both look nice potted together, but I don't like. I must be honest, I didn't buy the black cat for myself. I was very kindly sent it as part of a collaboration, and I think it's lovely, but I don't think I would go out of my way to have both, considering I already had one, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? That's just me personally. But yeah, I do love them potted together. I do love how full this now looks. And yeah, it's growing really nicely. Again, it would appreciate a trellis. I must get better with trellising my Hoyas. But yeah, foliage, it's stunning. It's so pretty. And then we've got a mystery Anthurium that I think is dead. I don't know what, I think, yeah, I've been wondering if that one's going to bounce back for a while, and it hasn't. And I haven't really done much to help. So again, let's put that down there. Oh, no, I think it might be a goner. And then, oh, you know what? I spoke about that Hoya as if it was that one. No, I made a mistake. This one here, I still can't remember the name of it, but this was given to me by my friend Lottie. So if you're watching, thank you, Lottie. It's that one there in the corner that was given to me by one of you guys, and that's the one that I also can't remember the name of, so we'll get to that in a minute. But this one is looking a bit sad. This is my Dracaena Milky Way, and oh my God, it's looking really sad, in fact. I spoke about this one in a video the other day because I was like, it's going downhill, I don't know why. And I got it out of its substrate, I checked the roots, and everything looked fine. But I think I need to get back in there and maybe give it a hydrogen peroxide treatment or something, because it is not a happy bunny, is it? Look at all these yellow leaves and all this curling. What's going on? But yeah, when it's not, and also it's putting out, oh yeah, something's going on because it's putting out loads of sections of just like white growth. When it's looking better, it's lovely. Like, it's got these gorgeous, gorgeous leaves. You can see why it's called Milky Way, because they've got these beautiful speckles on them. But yeah, unfortunately at the moment, it's a bit of a sad plant. This is also a pot that I loved and broke, and so Ross put it back together with glue and then painted it gold to make it look like, is it Kansiki? I'm sure, I don't think that is the word, where it's meant to be even more beautiful for having been broken, which I really like. But yeah, that plant needs some TLC. And then yeah, behind it is that Hoya. Again, I'll have to put the name on the screen, but the one that I was saying I thought was like a goner, and then it bounced back. It's got some new growth coming, which is good. And actually that new growth is coming from a section of stem that I thought was completely dead. Like, look at that. It appears like it's completely dead. So yeah, always good to check these things. I would have chopped that back actually. And then I've shown you those little propagations. So then coming up to the top shelf, or not the top shelf, the penultimate top shelf. I've got my Hoya croniana Super Silver, which is actually, again, this is another one I need to get in and have a proper look at the roots with, because it just never looks that happy. Like, I've had the Super Silver for years and years and years and years and years, and like, there's been times where it all just looks lovely and plump and full like that, but a lot of its growth at the moment is looking quite shriveled, and I'm not entirely sure why that is. So yeah, some investigation is needed. That being said, it is a really lovely one. I do love the bluey silvery plants, and I love the little shape of the leaves on this one. They're like little teardrops. They're so pretty. And then behind it is a plant. It's a begonia that actually, I have to fight my way in to actually show you this one. This is the Begonia corallina. Oh, there we go. There we go, you can see it a bit better. This one I really, really like. It's one that if you'd shown me a year ago, I would have gone, nope, not for me at all. But I really like it. I love the little polka dotty leaves. I'm not usually, as I've said, massive colour in houseplants, but I don't mind the red backs of the leaves. But this one a little while ago, and again, hence the sachet, this one got thrips to the point that I was like, I'm going to chop the whole plant up and I'm going to start it again, because thrips on a begonia like this are just such a pain, and they often start right in the middle of the leaf and like work their way out, and I just found that all of the leaves were looking really raggedy. So yeah, I gave it a really big chop back, and again, if you look like there, that's where I chopped it before. And although it was really sad because there was a period of time where the plant literally didn't have any leaves at all, now I'm really glad that I did chop it, because the plant has grown back looking so lovely, and I feel like it's just really set it up for success in the long run. And again, I've got a much fuller plant because of it. So yeah, I'm staying much more on top of my pest checking / pest treating nowadays, and particularly with very thin foliaged ones like this, I am being extra attentive. But yeah, all is good for the time being. And then another Anthurium. Again, I'm now like working with the string of hearts, trying not to get tangled in the middle section. But this Anthurium is the Anthurium bullatus, and this here in my hand is the most beautiful leaf I've ever got out of this plant, and it only hardened off fully about 3 weeks ago, and I just feel so grateful finally to have been able to get this plant to produce a leaf like this, because this is the reason I bought the plant. I've had this plant for maybe 3 years at this point, and it just was never looking very good. There were times where it had no leaves at all because it would just die back. And the best kind of leaves I was able to get out of it were ones that looked like this. And like, yeah, look at that. That's not a happy leaf at all. I've mixed so much stuff up for it. I've tried it in different substrates. I've tried it in different lighting, different humidity levels. Really, I have tried so much for this plant. And finally, either this is fluke or I've finally struck the right balance, because it's given me a leaf that has, I mean, like, just beautifully ruffled. Like, that leaf has got abs, you know? And also that gorgeous spaced lobing, which I don't know why, but I'm just obsessed with it. I just love the look of it so much. So long may that continue. It feels like such a great thing to have achieved. So yeah, I love that plant more than anything at the moment. It's one that has made me want to give up on it so many times over the years, but I'm really glad I stuck it out. So woohoo, yay. Fighting my way around the string of hearts. Next to it, I've got my Alocasia Dragon's Breath, which is a beautiful alocasia. It's not one that I feel like I know that well yet, and I have had this plant for well over a year, probably about 2 years at this point. And it might be weird that I'm still saying that, but I just, like, again, it's in like the 1 or 2 leaf club, and I'm like, what am I doing wrong? I don't quite know. So yeah, it's stunning. I think its foliage is unbelievable. Like, the colours, the shininess, the veination, it really does make me so happy. But I would be even happier if I could get it to produce like 3 or 4 leaves at a time, or potentially even more. Oh God, this is so annoying. I'm able to fight my way around my plants when it's just me, but trying to negotiate my camera and my gimbal and myself, it's a bit of a faff. Oh, this is a sad one, you guys. This is really sad. So, one of my favourite anthuriums, this one here, is the Anthurium Luxurians Magnificum hybrid. It is like the apple of my eye. And in a video the other day, I was filming and I just looked at this plant and I was like, something's not right. I was like, it looks like loads of the leaves were starting to yellow and to die back. And I was like, what's going on here? Look at that. And I got into the root system and there was not a lot of root rot, but there was a bit of root rot. So it meant I had to really kind of chop back a lot of the root system. I've now got it into sphagnum moss to kind of rehab. And I was hoping and praying I wasn't going to lose this leaf, because this is its biggest, most beautiful leaf yet. However, I can see that it's starting to yellow, so I think that one's probably a goner. Oh, that really breaks my heart. I was so happy when I got that leaf out of it. Fortunately, for the time being, that one looks okay. Like, oh, just look how gorgeous it is. The iridescence on that leaf is just stunning. So yeah, I do hope that I'll get good roots, and then even if I do lose that one, in fact, I'm definitely going to lose that one, aren't I? But yeah, hopefully that will be the end of the drama for now. But then behind it, this is another anthurium. It's the Anthurium, I want to say like Muduanum or something like that. I never say its name out loud because I don't talk about it much. But Modoanum af, I think, which is currently giving me a new leaf, which is exciting. And again, has only just unfurled. So I think, oh, how gorgeous is that? Yeah, I think when it's actually kind of fully hardened up and sized up, I think it's going to be quite big. But yeah, that is what the whole plant is looking like. It's one that, again, I don't see many people growing, and I'm not entirely sure why. Mine wasn't particularly expensive. I just think it's a really cool one, and I just really enjoy having unusual things in my collection. I'm not even going to call them rare, because I think rare is very much determined on like where you live and what's accessible, and I just think unusual, and it makes me happy. So yeah, very excited about that one. And then another Hoya. This is my, what is this? Hoya Crimson Princess? Sometimes if I don't talk about a plant in a while, like the name will just leave my brain. And I know, of course, round the string of hearts. I know, of course, you don't need to know all of your plants' names, but I just get a weird satisfaction out of knowing their names. I believe this is the Crimson Princess, and it's beautiful. It's got stunning variegation. I love how a lot of its new growth comes in really, really pink. When it spends a lot of time, just look there. But when it spends a lot of time in really quite direct sun, then it can go like bright pink. It's so pretty. But yeah, it's one that I have had mealybugs on a couple of times, which again is always something to be concerned about with a Hoya, but hasn't happened recently. Touch wood. But yeah, I really love it. And God, let's talk about the plant that is just like pushing all the other plants out and getting in the way. This ginormous one here, that's just for scale, is my Anthurium Pallidiflorum, and this is a plant that I am immensely proud of. I love this one so much, and this was a wishlist Anthurium for me for absolutely ages. I ogled over it in other people's collections and I pined after this plant, and I eventually got it a year and a half ago or so, I would say, and it was really not a small plant, but I mean its leaves were, I would say, okay, if we look at the top of the pot, when I first got it, its leaves were sticking out the top of that pot, they would have maybe come to like there. So it has significantly sized up in my time of owning it, and it's been a really fast grower actually. I found it incredibly rewarding, and oh my god, so this leaf here, this is its most recent leaf. I think I've just been focused on other things in the past few days, but I saw this leaf start to come in. Yeah, you can see it hasn't even finished hardening off yet. It's still very floppy and soft. I thought this was going to be quite a small leaf, and it's going to be ginormous. Look at it. But I've pollinated this plant a few times now. I harvested some berries from it about 3 months ago, and I've got loads of little seedlings. And again, if you just look up there, you can see it has been successfully pollinated again, and it is slowly starting to produce berries again. I sent a load out to people on my Patreon, and hopefully now lots of us will be able to grow the Pallidiflorum as a big plant. I can't believe how quickly this leaf has come in and is sizing up. Oh, that makes me so excited, especially because the last leaf it gave me was really damaged as it was unfurling, and I was like, no. So I'm really, really happy that one is unscathed and is hopefully going to continue to size up and be totally beautiful. But yeah, this is arguably my favourite plant. It's one that I, like, any time we have people over to the house, if anyone goes, oh, go on, show me your favourite plant, that's always the one that I flock to. It's just one that I feel like I've been on such a journey with, and I feel just proud to own, proud to have grown. And yeah, now that I'm pollinating it, I feel really happy that I'm able to do that as well. So yeah, honestly, I could talk about this plant all day. I just think it's wonderful. I think it's so lovely. And the thing I love about it as well is the velvety softness of its leaves with this like main vein that is so striking and white, and it's just picturesque. It really is. I know I talk on my channel a lot about plants that I love, and I often say I'm so sorry if I'm influencing you, and I don't mean to this is just my opinion and blah 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 blah. The Anthurium Pallidiflorum, if you have got conditions that provide good light, it doesn't need ridiculously high humidity, but good humidity, I couldn't recommend it enough. I know I shouldn't be saying that and I shouldn't be influencing people, but it's just one that I have got so much joy out of growing. Anyone that loves plants and likes the look of it, I would recommend you to give it a go because it's just so great. Also, again, keep an eye on my Instagram, because when I have more berries, I always prioritise people on my Patreon for stuff like that, but I often do put stuff on Instagram and whatnot as well. So, yes. We've done the String of Hearts. That one has been very much in focus, but here now we're upright, you can see it a little bit better. It's very, very pretty. Look at the little hearts. They're very, very lovely. And then a lot of what is up here, is a little bit neglected. In fact, I haven't taken this one down in a while. This is my Philodendron tortum, which I really like, but, I don't know why I'm holding it like this. It's growing in semi-hydro. In fact, it needs a top up of its reservoir. It's a really cool, like, textury plant. I get why a lot of people don't like it. It's one that I really enjoy growing, but it's one that's not kind of blowing my mind. But it is nice to kind of admire it from down here. Like, I don't know, I feel like I'm explaining this badly. It's one that provides lovely texture, and I enjoy it when I look up at it. But I don't feel like I want it like slap bang in the middle of my space right now, if that makes any sense at all. And also I've got an Aglaonema up here, which I can't actually reach to get down without standing on a chair. This is another Aglaonema Silver Queen, I think. I showed you one earlier in the living room and I said I've got lots of sections of that from the mother plant, and the mother plant is down here, so we'll get to that in a moment. But the other thing I've got on the top of the shelf is my Rhaphidophora tetrasperma, and oh god, this one has had issues. Oh, in fact, Mr. Plant will come back to that. This one has had issues recently. As you can see, look at that. It's got some really unhappy leaves, which breaks my heart because just look at the size of this plant. This one goes all the way around, like, the perimeter of this room. It like climbs the ceilings. It's just amazing. But yeah, I was having a period recently where I just wasn't as attentive to my plants, and like life just got busy, and I was just like, okay, I'm just not as on it as I would like to be. And I looked into my plant room one day. Yeah, just look, it goes all the way up there. But I looked into my plant room one day and I was just like, okay, what's going on in there? Because I saw so many yellow leaves on my Rhaphidophora, and I was like, no. And I came in and I looked, and firstly, this is such a small pot for the size of the plant. I know it is definitely due for a pot upgrade, but it had just completely dried out. Again, it's in semi-hydro. The reservoir was bone dry. And for that reason, loads of the leaves were dying off. So yeah, although it has bounced back, I have refilled the reservoir. The root system is looking much better. There are still some leaves that are not looking happy. And sadly, some big stretches of vine. Yeah, that one again, that's a leaf that is going to come off at any moment. Big stretches of vine that are going to be very empty and sparse, which makes me so sad. So sad. So yeah, again, I'm like, do I chop it up? I don't want to though. I really loved how it was growing. I just wish I had been a little bit more on it. But you love, well, I was going to say live and you learn. No, you don't. Because I've done things like this so many times before. I hopefully won't let it happen again, but who knows. But the other thing that's up here that I forgot to show you is my Anthurium Pallidiflorum narrow form. And this, interestingly, is one that I've had a slightly different experience to the standard Pallidiflorum in growing. I'm just going to take it off the shelf so I can actually put it on the floor and properly show you it. I think most of the issues I have encountered with this plant have been pest related, because you can see there has been a lot of like damage on the leaves. And like even here, this is its most recent leaf. And I think the thing is, I've never actually seen pests on it. But I think sometimes even if there is just like a thrip present, when the leaves are really small and they're first coming in, damage just sticks, doesn't it? So it is sizing up actually, and it is doing pretty well. And I get questions from you guys all the time being like, do you still have that plant? And yes, I do. It's just not doing as well as I would like it to. So again, I think probably on my part, I should probably, as soon as my new predatory mite sachets arrive, I should probably put lots of them on and around this plant. Maybe give it a little pot upgrade, because I haven't done that in a while. Also, just looking at its newest, like the growth point when new growth comes in. Oh my goodness. Okay, so the point where new growth usually comes in is yellowing quite a lot. However, if you look just there, that is the start of an inflorescence. How bizarre. I wouldn't have thought, I was going to say I wouldn't have thought this plant is kind of mature enough to be inflorescing yet. However, that can also be a sign that the plant is not happy and needs urgent attention. Sometimes if a plant is actually under like high levels of stress for a long period of time or thinks it's gonna die, then it will start flowering, essentially in order to try and like propagate and save itself. So I think I need to get in there rather quickly and just see what's going on. Another thing on my to-do list. But then coming over to the window, Hoya linearis here. I absolutely adore the linearis. I have clocked that this is not spider mites, there is a spider that has set up camp in the top of my linearis. I should probably remove him. I'm actually fine with spiders, so I a lot of the time just let them stay there, especially if I've got things like fungus gnats, which I have had recently. But no, the linearis is a beautiful Hoya. I just love how like soft and velvety it is. God, it's got so long. But yeah, it's beautiful. I thought it was going to flower this summer actually, and it hasn't. It started like putting out petioles and stuff, and I was like, go on, flower for me, because it just never flowers compared to my other Hoyas. And so far, oh, there's a little petiole, see? Oh, that looks like it might be about to pop. I would be very happy if I got some flowers on that one, but yeah, hasn't happened yet. Oh God, next to it, I've got some very sad tillandsias. These are air plants. In fact, some of them are okay. Like, that's all right. I do nothing to these ones. I do absolutely nothing. This was a piece that I made for, again, Malvern Show Garden to replicate. It basically mirrored a branch in the natural habitat side. And yeah, what am I saying? Basically, I brought it home with me afterwards and I was like, I'll grow this at home, and haven't done a good job. So I should really think about how I can mix things up for those, because they look awful. There we go. Anyway, coming down here, Anthurium clarinervium. Absolutely love the clarinervium. It's a classic. It's one of my favourites. This is an anthurium, in fact also the first anthurium that I ever pollinated, and if we look really closely down in the bottom of the pot, this little one here, I potted up with the mother plant. This is actually one of the babies of the mother plant. It was one of the longest anthuriums to pollinate ever. It literally took about 1.5 years from pollination to harvest. Again, I've made videos on exactly how to do that, which again, I will link down below. It's a very easy process actually, but it does just take some time. But I got loads of babies out of it. That was one of, I think, about 200. But yeah, potted it back in with the mother plant just so that I could keep a baby without having to have like loads of duplicates and loads of extra work. We're moving in a weird order. This one down here is the Syngonium chiapense. It's really lovely. It does not look like a Syngonium, does it? And I think for me personally, that's kind of the appeal. I used to be such a Syngonium person, and for some reason nowadays I'm just not. I don't know what it is. They just don't appeal to me anymore. I don't find them enjoyable to grow. But this one almost felt like more of a vining anthurium, and so yeah, I'm growing it on a moss pole badly. I'm so bad at keeping this moss pole hydrated, and also, as you can see, it's desperately in need of a moss pole extension, which I haven't done. So yeah, I need to do that, but it is putting out new growth and on the whole is looking really happy. So yeah, really excited about that one. I'm moving in such a weird order. Let's do the windowsill and then let's do the plants on the floor, shall we? But next to my Anthurium clarinervium, this is, I would say, my favourite philodendron. And maybe that's because it doesn't look that philodendron-esque. This is the Philodendron Campii Linnet. and I just love it. I really have, and I know lots of people in the plant community are saying this at the moment, but I really have moved more away from growing things on moss poles purely for how much time and effort they take to maintain. And I think when you've got a big collection, a lot of the time you want to be able to just like enjoy the fun things of looking after your plants and not always worry about moss poling. And this is one that is more self-heading in its growth. Like, although it probably would appreciate a stake, it isn't needing a moss pole in order to grow and size up. So yeah, I absolutely love it. I will say it is a magnet for spider mites. It really, really is. I've had spider mites on this plant so many times. All of the little areas on the leaf that you can see that look like they're kind of like they've been brushed away, that is all spider mite damage. But yeah, it is just lovely otherwise. It's also really easy, really adaptable lighting wise. I had this one growing in a really low light spot when I was living back at the flats, and it did pretty well. So yeah, I love it. And then this is a propagating, actually needs to be potted up, but a section of variegated Coleus amboinicus. I know I showed you my standard green Coleus amboinicus in the kitchen. This one's really lovely. Again, edible, smells gorgeous, but also just has such pretty variegated leaves. I might pot them together. I've been thinking that and I haven't done it, but I might possibly pot them together. I don't know yet. And then this one, again, this is a favourite one of my Alocasias. It will always be one of my favourites. My Alocasia michelitziana. It is so pretty, commonly known as the Alocasia Friedeck. I've said it before, but I remember the first time I saw this plant, I was like, is that real? Is it a cartoon? I think I saw it in someone else's video and I couldn't quite believe that it was a real plant. And again, this is one that has not been without its struggles. You might notice it's not as full as it was before. I had thrips on it really badly, and in fact, I think, yeah, now it's in the clear, but I do still see the occasional thrip here and there on this plant. It is just one that's sadly very susceptible. So yeah, I've lost lots of leaves. It's very stemmy. I should really either chop and propagate or air layer, or I should do something here, shouldn't I? I really should. And then above it, I've got my Cebu Blue, which miraculously is still alive. I've lost, again, loads of leaves on this one. You know how I was saying about I looked through to my plant room and I saw that loads of my Rhaphidophora tetrasperma was dying off. At the same time, I also looked at my Cebu Blue and that had loads of leaves dying off as well. So again, that has also got lots of sections of sparse vines, which makes me sad, but again, is totally my own fault. Again though, I just love the bluey silvery leaves. They make me so happy. And this one grows when you care for it properly. It grows so quickly. Of course, you can get it on a moss pole and it will size up and it'll look lovely and its leaves all kind of split and fenestrate. I've personally had no desire to do that with that plant. I quite enjoy it just as it is. But yeah, lots of people do grow it like that. And then I've got my variegated Alocasia Friedeck, which has turned itself to face the window. Oh, okay, pull a leaf back. It's gorgeous. It's so lovely. I do love this plant. Yeah, its leaves are all facing the wrong directions at the moment. In fact, shall I spin it round? There we go. Its leaves are still kind of going out left, right and centre everywhere, but it's such a beautiful Alocasia. I just love how all of its leaves are so different. I know that's the case with all plants, but the hyper variegated ones with really block variegation, I feel is that block variegation? I guess it's not that blocky, but it looks intentional. Do you know what I mean? There's some types of variegated Alocasia and actually variegated Anthuriums that almost just look unwell and ill, whereas something like this, I feel like it looks more painted. It looks more like it's meant to be like that. Do you know what I mean? yeah, it is one that I really struggled to get my head around for quite a long time. I struggled to grow. I just encountered loads of issues. I feel like I've turned the corner with it now, but sadly, it's not one that I really get to appreciate that much unless I do spin it into this room, because it is just very happy looking out of the window, which is fine. But yeah, it's lovely. And next to it, I've got a little Monstera deliciosa mint, which is starting to give me a little leaf, which I'm really excited about. That leaf has been pushing itself out for like a month, I want to say, and it seems to have just come to a stop, and I don't know why. I'm not quite sure why it's just come to a stop. So the plant otherwise looks healthy, like it hasn't had any leaves die off. I'm like, maybe it's just because the seasons are changing. Maybe I need to put it right under a grow light. I don't know. But then above it, I've got my Boston fern. I love the Boston fern. It's one, again, for ages that I really, really struggled with. And then I just kind of turned a corner with it. And I was like, actually, you know what? Just give it loads of water. I say that, obviously, you've got to be careful about overwatering, but I don't know, nowadays, it's just become a really easy plant for me, but there was a time where it wasn't. It's funny how these things can just happen, but yeah, I really love it. I love the texture of it. I did have it further back in this room for a while, but it was craving more light, so I have popped it in the window now. I think actually coming into the darker winter months, I probably will need to clear a little bit of window space just to optimise how much natural light can actually get into this room. So yeah, I should probably think about bringing it back at some point. Yeah, that's a problem for another day though, isn't it? Also, I was going to say, I have a little thermostat and humidity gauge on the wall. I just got this on Amazon fairly cheaply. As with everything in this video, I'm saying I will link it down below if you want to get the same one that I've got. You don't have to. I think they're pretty standard, but it just allows me to monitor like what the temperatures and the humidity are for my plants. It says it's at 79% right now, which, I mean, God, that's brilliant for my plants. I am very, very happy with that. Typically, I try and keep the humidity in this space at 60% plus. I have got a humidifier just down there that I'm not running at the moment, but I run it if it drops significantly lower. At this time of year, like, I think because we haven't put the radiators on yet, and I don't know, it just has been like rainy season, I haven't had to run my humidifiers that much. But also, a lot of you often say, like, how do I keep the humidity so high and not have to worry about mold? Like, from time to time, I will get mold. Like, if I'm not good at opening the doors regularly or running a fan or something like that, I will get mold. And in fact, you can see, I noticed this. Oh God, there's also loads of cobwebs. But I can see there is the start of some mold in that corner over there, so I really need to tackle that. But again, that's just because I haven't been going outside much recently. But I find that if I do open the doors a lot, I rarely need to like worry about mold. It's all down to airflow is basically what I'm saying. But yeah, I think also I'm quite lucky because this is such a big open space. Like, the air circulates a little bit better than maybe it would in just like a small room. I don't know. Personally, I've never really had to deal with mold that much. I've encountered it here and there, but it's never been bad. But yeah, airflow is key. And then this is my, I want to say Alocasia bisma. That's what I was sold it as. But I have seen Alocasia bisma that belong to other people that look really, really different. So now I'm like, is this a bisma? Like, those of you that have got the Alocasia bisma, does this one look like yours? Let me know in the comments, because I'm really intrigued to know whether or not I've actually got a bisma. Nonetheless, it is really beautiful. Again, I love that shadowy veination. It's in semi-hydro. It's doing really well like that. Got loads of little babies popping up. Oh, I have been dealing a little bit with fungal issues with this plant though, and I think I might need to give it another treatment, because if you look there, that is classic signs of fungal issues. I think I will probably go in with a baking soda treatment or something like that, just because it's nice and easy, and I think that would do the trick. But then the plants are down here that we didn't get to. So I've shown you my Anthurium magnificum luxurians, which is that one there that is not very happy. But down here, I have got just my pure luxurians, which looks like this. Oh, and it's got, oh, yay. I didn't notice this. It's got a new leaf coming. Yay. I was just about to say it hasn't given me a new leaf in ages. So I'm really happy it finally is. So I love the luxurians. I really do. Like, I don't have anything bad to say about it. I think it's quite an easy anthurium. I think it's really cool. Again, very reptilian, very unusual. However, if I had to put it against another, like if I had to compare, I would say I prefer my Luxurians Magnificum hybrid, the one that's going yellow and not doing well. Just because, like, I don't know, this is so intensely dense and like ripply. I don't know why. I do like it, but I just prefer it when it's a little bit more subtle, like the one I showed you up there. Just personal preference. But this one I have been growing in a jar for pretty much the entire time of owning it, and it's got an insanely great root system in there. Again, semi-hydro on the bottom, soil on top. It's worked really well. Oh, and in fact, not only is it giving me a new leaf, it's also giving me an inflorescence, and there is opportunity here to create some hybrids because, oh my goodness, you guys, this is so exciting because I've got Magnificum pollen. I could create loads of this plant, the one that I'm worried about, the one that I love, so that in the event it all goes wrong, I have thousands of backups. Or maybe not thousands, but lots of backups. Okay, maybe that's what I will try to do. That's really exciting. But yeah, very easy otherwise. The other thing I was going to say though is that if I want to get it out of that pot, I think at this stage I may need to break the jar just because the roots have expanded so much and there's a neck on the jar. That's what I'm saying. And then another one that is just next to it. This one, to be completely honest, shouldn't really be in here because I got this plant recently and I really should still be isolating this plant. But I just wanted to bring it in here to show you guys, and it looked really nice in this spot. So I've taken the risk, and if I need to live with the consequences of that risk, then I will. But it is a variegated umbrella plant, and I've had this type of plant before, and I really enjoyed growing it the last time I had it. And I went to a garden centre the other day, and they had, like, this plant was $7.99, which I think is such a good price. And I saw it, and I just started pining after the one that I didn't have anymore. And I was like, you know what? Why not? Why not treat yourself? So yeah, it's not particularly rare. Like you can probably tell from my collection, I definitely don't need a plant to be rare in order to love it. I've got a complete variety, but I just love texture, and I think in amongst my other plants, I don't know, I just love it. I really love it. So I'm really happy to have added that one to my collection again. Oh, and then we move on to another anthurium that might just be one of my favourites and is currently giving me the most beautiful leaf ever. And this is another Magnificum hybrid. This is a Regal Magnificum hybrid, and just look at this leaf. Again, this one is still in the process of sizing up. It's still very, very fragile, so I'm going to be very careful how I touch it. But already, look at the size of it. And with every new leaf, this one has got bigger and bigger and bigger. And I've always, usually, can't speak today. Usually the leaf will get to about that big because they come in really small and they get bigger and bigger and bigger. It'll get to about that big, and then all of a sudden it will start looking quite like battered and bruised, and like the edges will start ripping like that. And I've never been able to work out why that is. And I've had so many different theories in the comment section of my video from you guys. And one of the things, I don't know if this is the answer by the way, but one of the things that I have done differently this time is I've introduced a Calmag fertiliser on top of my normal fertiliser. Again, I'll link it down below. But I just heard that sometimes if particularly anthuriums aren't getting enough calcium and magnesium, that can cause them to crack. And yeah, I use liquid gold leaf fertiliser most of the time. I use it for all of my houseplants. It keeps them really happy. But I was like, maybe, seeing as it's got a new leaf coming in, maybe I will play about with some extra supplementation and just see how it does. And I know it hasn't finished sizing up and hardening off, but so far so good. This is hands down the most like perfect looking leaf it has ever given me in my time of owning it. And I've had it since it was not small, but like the leaf that is there, that is actually just about to die off. But that leaf, which is about that big, that was its biggest leaf when I first got the plant. But yeah, I love the Regal so much, but I find the Regal a really difficult plant to grow. So the Anthurium magnificum Regal looks very similar to the Regal, but I do just find it a little bit easier. I don't know why that is. But yes, I cannot even explain how happy I am about this new leaf. And also because when you stand back and if you're just like in this bit of the house, it just is like staring you in the face as you look into this room, you know? It's just so beautiful, so beautiful. So yeah, you best believe I will be giving you lots of updates on this plant because it has the potential, I do think, to get absolutely huge. Again, we'll figure out what to do, what we do about that when the time comes. But I really do want to bring out the best in it. So yay, exciting, stay tuned. And then next to it, I have got a Schismatoglottis SP Silver Borneo. This one is beautiful and has been on a bit of a journey again. I have struggled with pests on this plant. Some of the leaves are okay, but there are others. Actually, I did give it a bit of a, in fact, is that a thrip? I think that is a black thrip. And I'm so sorry if you don't like thrip murder, look away now. Yeah. Oh, okay, I'm gonna have to properly check this plant over afterwards. But yeah, this one has been a little bit of a pest magnet over my time of owning it. Nonetheless, it is so pretty. I think Schismatoglottis as a genus just produces some strikingly gorgeous foliage. And this is actually, I would say, out of every type of Schismatoglottis I've ever grown, I think this is one of the easier ones. Maybe it comes down to the way I'm growing it. Again, I have got it in semi-hydro. But I found this easier than things like the Wallichii and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's gorgeous though. I really like how its leaves are almost like bluey feathers, you know? Like that central bit is just so pretty. I should probably leave that out, shouldn't I? And then I can check it more for pests after this. But then this Aglaonema, this is the one that has produced all of the little babies that you have seen as we've been going round. This is the Aglaonema Silver Queen. It's just one that I think is wonderful. It's so pretty. It's so easy. It's one that can survive in really quite low lighting conditions. It's like, I think there's a reason that you often see this in like, I don't know, there's been so many places I've been to over the years where you've seen this in like the reception of a waiting room or like a hotel or something. I think because it is the kind of plant that like almost anyone can keep alive. I don't want to make you feel bad if you have killed that plant because believe me, I've killed some easy plants in my time as well. But yeah, I think there's a reason that you see it so frequently. But for me, that is not a reason not to own the plant. I think it is beautiful and I love it so much. And then down here, this is a beautiful begonia. And this one actually has a really lovely story behind it, which, so I got this one, this was given to me at a plant swap by one of you guys, and it's a hybrid begonia. It is a begonia acontifolia coquina hybrid, I think. And the lovely person that gave me this one said that apparently this used to belong to your grandma, who I believe lives in Spain or something, and you said that someone had like stolen the plant out of her garden, but before they'd stolen the plant, you'd managed to take some cuttings and I've got part of the cuttings. And it was just a really lovely story and I felt so honoured to be given a section of that plant. And again, actually, I did struggle with thrips on this plant, and that was the original spot just there where I was putting out all of the growth. And you can see where I chopped it, and again, I propagated both sections, but now I have got, as it continues to grow, what will be a much fuller plant. So again, I'm really glad I made the chop. I just love this one's leaves. They look like beautiful, beautiful fireworks. And I think as well, this is not to be ungrateful whatsoever to the person that gave this to me, but I don't think this is a plant that I would have chosen for myself. But now, having owned it, I'm really grateful to have, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like it's given me, I don't know, a new appreciation for this type of begonia that maybe I wouldn't have if I hadn't been given it, you know? And then down here, I'm not going to take you through everything that I've got down here, but I've got loads of propagations. I've got lots of like prop boxes. I've got seedlings that are sprouting from my Anthurium Pallidiflorum, plants that I just need to do a bit of rehabbing on. I've got like, often I will just put plants into a box if I can't be bothered to deal with them right now, and they kind of just take care of themselves. But yeah, that is like, if you want a video on that, let me know in the comments and I will happily take you through everything I've got propping down there. But yeah, I won't bore you with it otherwise because I don't think it's particularly exciting. A lot of the stuff down there is like neglected stuff, so we'll cover that at some point soon. But then this one, this is a Rhaphidophora foraminifera, and oh my god, now it's got going. It is going like crazy. Just look at it. I got this one as like a one leaf cutting about 2 years ago, and it has just like, the thing I love about this one is when it sizes up and when it fenestrates, all of its fenestrations are right towards the middle, like center vein of the main vein instead of on the outside, which is so unusual. And yeah, I just think it's wonderful. And I decided earlier this year to actually chop the bottom section of the plant away, which is this bit here, so that I could conserve the big growth it was giving me and essentially just like allow the plant to continue to size up, but without having like loads of extra height with small growth at the bottom. But since I've done that, it has also started putting out massive growth here as well. So I think what is on my to-do list now, and I've in fact started doing it here, is I've air layered that top section. I think I'm gonna chop that top section away. I'm gonna keep this large section of growth here. I'm gonna pot it back in with this plant to make it a little bit fuller. And then the bottom section here, I'm gonna chop up into individual cuts, and I'm gonna send out cuttings to people on my Patreon. Not just people on my Patreon, actually. There's been a few people that, in fact, loads of you have asked me about cuttings of this plant. And the reason I haven't got around to it sooner is just because this plant had thrips. I think we're in the clear now. But I obviously didn't want to start sending anything out when it was thrippy. So thank you for bearing with me on that. I will get around to that soon. But as of yet, I have not done it. And then I guess we're on the table plants now. This is my old coffee table from the flat. I've kept it because I really like the fact it's transparent. It means that light can pass through it and I can still grow stuff underneath it. So yeah, that's why I'm using that. I've got my Alocasia green shield here, which, don't get me wrong, is one of the most beautiful alocasias I think I've ever seen in my entire life. However, it might just be the bane of my life because I've owned this plant for 4 or 5 years now, and it has never, ever, ever been consistent with its growth. It will give me 2 leaves, it'll start to give me a third, and then one will die back. It's just getting to the stage where I feel like I'm a little bit bored of just having like 2 or 3 leaves. I'm like, come on, give me something to work with. So, I mean, some of you are actually saying, why don't I just like collect loads of corms from it and then grow loads of them in one pot together? And I think that's actually a really good idea. And I think if I want to have a lovely full plant, that's probably what I'm gonna have to do. So maybe I will try that next. And if I'm not feeling it after that, I can get rid of the plant. I don't know. But then this Hoya here, what is this Hoya called? Again, I think because I don't talk about it that much, I can't remember the name of it. No, can't remember. Lovely Hoya. It has recently started giving me some new growth. Oh, Clemenceurium. Is that what it is? Clemenceurium, something like that. I think that's what it is. But yeah, it's very prehistoric. It's very cool. It's very weird. Got some other stuff popping up in the soil there as well. But yeah, it's just lovely. And then I've got my little well, not so little anymore, Alocasia, variegated Alocasia Adora. Again, this came from one of you guys. I've done so many swaps and trades with you guys over the years, and I absolutely love it. But let me spin it round. Oh, sorry, just whacked the camera. But yeah, it's putting out some lovely growth now. I've recently sized up its pot because it was getting very root bound. And I feel like, yeah, now it's kind of set up for success, hopefully, in a way that means it can really size up and get big, because, oh God, I'm saying get big about all of them, but that one really has fantastic potential. Oh, and talking of potential in Alocasia, this one is one of the Alocasias that I'm the most excited about in my collection. This is my variegated Alocasia Saurian, and oh my God, if you have watched my other videos, you will know how obsessed I am with this Alocasia. I love it so much. I wanted a Saurian for years and years and years. The Saurian is basically a hybrid Alocasia. Half of its parent plant is the Alocasia mitchellitziana, this one here, and you can see obviously a lot of the characteristics in that. But then it's also crossed with the Alocasia zebrina, which I don't have in my collection at the moment, actually. But if you look at its stem, kind of see it's got that stripy kind of zebrina-esque stem. And it's also very waxy in its texture, which is very zebrina-like. And this one has the potential to get ginormous. Like, when I say huge, I'm talking like leaves the size of me. I don't know if that can happen in a UK home environment, particularly seeing as this one is variegated. But who knows, I'm giving it a good go. I got this one earlier this year when its leaves were only about that big, and it has sized up so much already. And actually, I'm just looking, and I can see that there's a new leaf unfurling here, which is so exciting. So exciting. Even if you look how much it's sized up from that leaf to this one, you know, it's really going now. So I am unbelievably excited about that plant. And then next to it down here, I've got a little Hoya crinklate, which has not, I mean, it's looking all right now actually, but again, this one has been mealybug treated very recently. It's an absolute magnet for mealybugs, and I found so many on this plant. So I do hope that's the last treatment I'm going to have to do in a while, but who knows. And then this one here is looking a little bit sad and sorry for itself. It has got a new leaf, but I found rhizome rot on this one. It's a Xanathosoma violaceum, so it's a caladium basically. I think I'm right in saying, and yeah, can get really, really, really big. However, is it a caladium? Xanathosoma. I'm pretty sure that's what caladium has been reclassified as. But then also it's known as elephant's ear. So that makes me think colocasia. Oh, I actually don't know. I need to go away and do some research on that. But yeah, it had rhizome rot, meaning I had to chop back a lot of the rhizome, and I'm now just like rehabbing the roots and sphagnum moss. But that is why it's looking a bit all over the place. Usually it's way more upright. But yeah, it needs a bit of TLC and it needs a bit of time to bounce back. But then also on the table, I know I've already spoken to you about my little Warocquianum, which is the one that was over here. But again, one of you guys very kindly, like so kind of you, but very kindly sent me a Warocquianum through Grow Tropicals recently. Again, this person was on my Patreon and I think has heard my struggles with this plant. And it's, how long has it been? How long has it been? A month and a half, 2 months maybe. And so I've done things very differently this time with this one. I'm really kind of playing about and seeing if I can find something that works really well and seeing if I can finally crack this plant, because I so want to be able to make this plant love me. And because I found that this one loves so much water but can also be so susceptible to root rot, basically I'm like, that means that surely it must need really fantastic aeration around its roots. So I've actually gone in with what I believe is a pond pot. It's got so many holes in it. Oh, and I can actually see some of the roots coming through there, which is good. And I've just used, again, a very soilless mix. I think maybe like 10% soil, and then the rest is all like moss, orchid bark, tree fern fibre, all the good things. And so far, so good. I can see that there is a new growth point just there. I can see a lot of the aerial roots. Oh no. Oh, damn it. I just squashed the... Oh no. Oh, I feel like that's going to leave a mark. But yeah, I can see lots of the aerial roots are really starting to branch out. In fact, I should really get some more moss around them to kind of help them develop their own root system. And as I say, it's early days again for me in the Warocqueanum, but I do feel much more confident this time. I don't want to jinx it, but I do feel like, I just feel like I'm in a better place in general to be able to take things like this on at the moment. As sad as that might sound, I think there have been times before where I have just got so excited about the prospect of new plants that I haven't really thought about the ones that I've already got, and it means that I end up getting so overwhelmed with things to the point that I'm not giving my plants the care that they actually need or deserve. It wreaks havoc on my mental health because I then start thinking, oh my God, I'm killing everything, or I'm letting things die, and it just feels so overwhelming. And like I said earlier in this video, I have recently, within the last, pretty much since I made my last houseplant tour video, I've been actively getting rid of everything that doesn't bring me loads of joy. I've been finding good homes for it, or I've been swapping things for it, or I've just been putting things on Facebook Marketplace. And I have now got a collection full of things, bar like the odd one or two, but full of things that genuinely do make me so happy and feel much more manageable. So I think now is a very good time to be trying the Warocqueanum again. As I say, keep watching, I'll let you know how it goes, but I do feel like this is a good thing for now. Also, before we move on, I forgot to show you, look at the aerial root that is coming out of my, oh my God, ooh, yuck. It's gone quite like corky, and I'm not sure how I feel about that texture. That kind of gives me the ick. I think because I get really freaked out by snakes. There's something about that seems a bit snaky, and I don't like it. So you know what, we're not going to look at that anymore. But big aerial roots, well done plant. This one here in my little booby pot that I made, this is one that I need to chop up and start it again. It's a variegated Hoya Bella. It's Hoya Bella albomarginata, I think. It's just never looked great, and I have spent so many hours. I've just spent so much time over the years battling with this plant in order to get it looking good again, and I'm still left with like long stretches of vine that have nothing on them, and I'm like, I need to just restart it. So yeah, I put it on the table to show you in this video, but I do plan on chopping it up very soon. And then, onto my big alocasias. This one here is my Alocasia Jacqueline. I got this one a few years ago from some of my friends on my birthday. I think about 3 or 4 years ago now. And it was a tiny little plant, and now it's really big and beautiful, and I love it so much. And in fact, it was even more big and beautiful before I went away to Malvern. It's an alocasia that is very prone to pests, and just before I went to Malvern, I realised that this plant had pests, and I was like, oh my God, what do I do? I don't feel like I've got time to really, I don't know, I don't want to leave it in with my plants whilst I'm away, because I was away for about 2.5 weeks. So seeing as it had been right by the window here, and seeing as I looked at the weather forecast and the weather said it was going to be really great, I was like, I'll leave it outside. It'll be fine outside. And I just said to Ross, if you wouldn't mind bringing it in before you leave for Malvern in a week's time. And anyway, he forgot. Did he forget? Oh, I can't remember if actually this was, definitely not blaming him. Anyway, the plant was in tatters and didn't have a single leaf on it when I got back. So yeah, what you're actually looking at is the last 4 months worth of growth. It had not a single leaf left on it. And considering it's only been 4 months, I think this is pretty damn good, you know? It's sized back up pretty nicely. Although I've had the occasional pest here and there, it hasn't been awful. I felt pretty good about this plant. So yeah, hopefully I can get it back to the size it was at before, but it seems very healthy and it seems very happy. I just love the texture of its leaves. It's kind of bristly, like it's not soft and furry. If you walk past it wearing like a very thick jumper or something. In fact, can you hear that? It kind of catches. But yeah, it's just such a cool one. And then down here, oh, in fact, this one probably shouldn't be touching any other plants because this one is a magnet for pests. But this one is my Alocasia portadora, and this one I think, has been in every houseplant tour I have ever made on my channel. It's one of my oldest plants, and you might not believe that because although that leaf's very big, the plant itself is looking quite small at the moment. I have chopped this plant back so many times over the years, and in fact, you can tell it's a pest magnet. I've got all of the predators here. But yeah, that is the massive rhizome that it was growing from before. If you look at the size of that compared to like the little ones that it's restarted here, you can imagine how big it was before. And in fact, if you go back a few years and look at my YouTube videos, you'll be able to see just how big this plant was, because there was a point where its leaves were almost as big as me. It was absolutely crazy. But yeah, pretty much my entire time of owning the plant, although I love it, it has just always been one that suffered with pests, and because it requires such high levels of light, it's not an easy one to isolate. It's not one that I could just be like, oh, okay, well, I'll put it in the dining room, for example, because there's not enough light there. And even if I was to put it over by that window in the living room, I don't think it would survive there. So yeah, really it has to be in this room. I just have to be very vigilant with like wiping it down and whatnot. But yeah, it is such a lovely alocasia. I think it's just wonderful. And yeah, I hope to be able to keep it going forever. It does seem somewhat unkillable for what's known as quite a sensitive plant otherwise. But yes, going up to the ones up here. Also, those of you that have watched my other videos and been on my channel for a while, do you remember when my Alocasia portadora froze completely solid when it was on the balcony? Yeah, it's, as I say, unkillable. But let's do some of the hanging plants, shall we? This one here, so this one's actually not doing amazingly. This is my Hoya Rosita that I got, again, from my friend Emma, Good Growing. Yeah, this one had mealybugs really, really badly, and again, I have treated it several times. It is, I very much hope now, completely mealybug free, but since then, it's just not felt, I can't put my finger on it, it's not felt as hydrated as I would like it to. Like, it just feels a bit crispy. Maybe that doesn't come across on camera, but I think because I knew what the plant looked like before, you know when you just know a plant and you know if it's not quite itself. So yeah, I do hope that it will continue to bounce back, and maybe it is just a little bit of shock, but for the time being, it's happy there in the window. Long may it stay there, and hopefully, yeah, let me just look. Maybe I just need to give it a bit of a prune back. Maybe I do. And then, oh my God, I think this grow light, I need to tilt it down. It is blinding me. Okay. I don't know if everything is now going to look very dark. I hope it's not. That was just very, very much. That was a lot in my face. This one here, again, not doing great. We're moving on to the rogue plants now, aren't we, guys? This is my Thai pink lipstick plant, Acanthus, and yeah, like, it's just looking really raggedy. And when I was at the flat, this one was growing in arguably worse conditions. Like, it was on one of my hanging rails, in fact the same hanging rails as I've got here. It was on my hanging rail in really quite dark conditions, and it's a plant that prefers these kind of levels of light, so I'm not quite sure what's going on. Again, I expect, yeah, like, look, I expect I should probably get in there and check the roots. I haven't seen anything like pesty to worry about, but it has been looking quite sad for a while, and I must confess I have not been doing anything about it. So yeah, must do that. Also, I was going to say, I can't forget there's one above me that I need to show you as well. This is my Anthurium Big Bill though. This one is such a giant and such a joy to grow. Oh my goodness, it's so fun. It's such a robust, hardy Anthurium that like makes such a statement, but really you don't have to put in that much effort to grow this plant. I've said before, but the reason that I was inspired to get this plant is because I used to have the Anthurium jungle bush, which basically looks exactly like this, but it's much more of an upright plant. And I just remember that plant being able to take pretty much anything, like very long periods of neglect. It was just always looking gorgeous and always sizing up. And I saw this one and I was like, interesting. And so I got it. How big was it when I got it? I know it had this leaf. But I think this leaf and this, oh no, this leaf has been in my care. But yeah, those two leaves have been, it's sizing up in the time that it's been in my care. You know what, I'm gonna turn this grow light off because it's too much. There we go, that is so much better. But before we move on, the one up here that I would have forgotten about because it isn't in a kind of logical order, but this is my Philodendron Spiritus Sancti, and I spoke about this one in a video recently because I know the Spiritus Sancti is another plant that had so much hype around it. Like, everyone seemed to be like, oh my god, the Spiritus Sancti, everyone wants a Spiritus Sancti. And like, I was definitely, and I made a video on this, but I was definitely influenced to buy that plant. And although I really like it, it definitely hasn't given me the fix that I thought it would. And I think that's just because, again, like social media, like it really sold it to me to be something that actually, in my experience, it's not necessarily. I think when it really sizes up, because when I first got it, it had leaves like that, and it's obviously starting to size up a lot. But when it really sizes up and becomes a little bit fuller, I think I will enjoy it more. But at the moment, it's kind of just there. I don't really notice it that much. I did notice earlier, however, that it is starting to put out a new leaf, which is that kind of squiggly bit on the left, which I'm really excited about. Every new leaf does excite me with this plant. But yeah, it hasn't been necessarily worth the hype it had around it for me personally. But coming back to these ones over here, this one, oh my goodness, this is such a joyous plant to grow. I absolutely love it. This is the Drimonia chiribagana. And this one is not typically grown as a hanging plant, but I just decided to mix up the way I was growing it. I had a spare hanging pot free, and I was like, you know what, it's kind of growing out in weird and wonderful ways. Why not just kind of go with the way the plant's growing and embrace growing it in a slightly unconventional way as well? And it seemed pretty happy like this. In fact, it's really filled out, because for a while, this was a plant that I just couldn't get my head around. And you'll notice maybe that I am, in fact, just growing it in sphagnum moss. Like, I haven't managed to find a substrate that can keep this plant happy apart from sphagnum moss. And I've had lots of you guys in the comments before saying like, oh, just try it in a really chunky mix, or try it with this soil or that soil, or try this. And I've literally tried everything. And the only way I can ever consistently make this plant look happy in my care is if I grow it in moss. So Whether or not this is a long-term solution, I don't know, but for the time being, I'm back to moss, and the plant seems pretty happy, so yeah, it's staying like that for the time being. And then this one's looking weird, but this is my monkey tail cactus. And actually at Malvern, RHS Malvern Festival last year, I got this as teeny weeny little cuttings. I think, I'm trying to say, if you can see like where the original cuttings were, but I can't actually see that now. So basically these were sold as like offcuts in like little pots from monkey tail cacti that had broken and snapped. And I picked a few of them up and I was like, yeah, why not? I love the monkey tail cactus. Didn't have one in my collection at that point, and it has just put out so much growth. And I know it's growing in a bit of a weird way, but I really like it. I think it's got so much character. And like even the bits that have broken off, you can see every time it snaps, it encourages the energy back up the plant and therefore makes the plant more bushy over time. That's the same principle with loads of plants, hence why I often say like chopping them in the main stem actually promotes more growth in the long run. But yeah, I just think it's really cool, really cute. I'm not like, even in the time I wasn't massively into cacti and succulents, I think jungle cacti, there's just something about it. Also, you stroke it this way and it's lovely and furry. Stroke it that way, it's not too bad, but it gets a little bit into spiky territory sometimes. I also had this one previously, up until a couple of months ago. I had it growing on my shelf over there by the sofa, and although that was nice and it looked nice there, it wasn't quite providing enough light for the plant, so I brought it over here, and since I have, it's been kicking out the most insane amount of growth, considering as well I also usually have the grow light on it too. So yeah, it's a very happy plant and I really, really love it. And another one I really love that in fact I will get down and I will show you better. Also, loads of you always ask me where I got my hanging rails from. Again, God, it was years ago that I got these hanging rails now, but I will link below the ones that I got at the time. Whether or not you can still get them from that place, I don't know. They're basically just like metal curtain rails. So yeah, they've like the brackets are like that. Sorry, that's not more useful, but as I say, I'll link below the ones that I got. But yeah, going back to the plant, the Peperomia Hope, this one has, for as long as I can remember, been one of my favourite plants. I think it is just such a cheery, jolly plant. I never used to struggle with the Peperomia Hope. It used to be one of my easiest plants ever. And for some reason in the last couple of years, I've just had loads of issues with it. And I chopped my Peperomia Hope up. When did I chop it up? Probably about a year ago now, and it was just not looking very happy. And then it was a really small plant. And then again, one of you guys, lovely Sue, who's on my Patreon, you very kindly gave me your Peperomia Hope when you moved house. And I was like, amazing. I was like, great, okay, cool. Now I've got a massive one, and I potted my section in with it. And then the whole plant got thrips really badly, which meant that I had to chop even more of it up. And again, like there were loads of sections that I ended up just scrapping of that plant because I was like, they are so badly pested that I don't think I'm going to get them back. So again, like I say, the plant is bouncing back and it is giving me lots of new growth. And in fact, even at the top here, you can see there's loads of new growth coming through. But it's nowhere near as big or full as it once was. And I really miss that. So yeah, I say it's back on track, but we've got a way to go with it yet. Oh, but then the one, okay, this is a new one. And in fact, if you watched my come plant shopping with me video the other day, then you would have seen this one. But I had never even heard of this type of plant before. And it is a Saxifraga. That's the genus name. I can't remember the exact name of the plant, so I'll put it on the screen. But leaf-wise, it kind of looks Begonia-esque, or that's what I thought when I first saw it. But then it's got these weird kind of like strands that come down from the plant that leads to these little things that almost look like string of hearts. And like, I don't know, on camera, I feel like it's just not doing it justice, but I just thought that almost looks, I don't know, it almost looks like something out of Avatar, and it feels quite magical, and it's very different to anything else that I've got in my plant collection. So yeah, why not give it a go? And in fact, looking at the top here, I can see it's starting to put out even more of those little things. Yeah, I'm just really excited to learn about this plant because I've never, as I say, never had it before, never even heard of it. So let's see how that goes. But for the time being, wish me luck. And then here I've got again, another strappy anthurium. I love a strappy anthurium. This is my Anthurium vitarifolium, and it is just another really, really lovely one. But this is more like robust and waxy, and obviously doesn't have that white main vein. Again, this was very kindly sent to me by one of you guys. I don't actually even think we did a swap. I have a feeling you were just getting rid of some plants. It's from Ian. So yeah, thank you, Ian. I love it, and it's going strong. And this one actually is currently putting out a little inflorescence, and I keep wanting to pollinate it. But so far I've had no luck. So the inflows don't seem to last very long. So yeah, maybe I'll try it again this time, but it's just a really cool one. Again, I love the texture. It's really fun. And just below it, I've got my Hoya SP Burtonate Aff, which again, I've spoken about this Hoya so much over the years. I really love it. I think it's gorgeous. I just like, although maybe the camera's not picking it up, it's got really fuzzy little leaves, which I find so fun. And also I just love all the shades of green within its foliage. I did have the variegated Burtonate Aff at one point that I potted in with this plant, and for some reason it just didn't get on, so I ended up taking that out. So now I've just got a pure pot of non-variegated Burtonate Aff again. But yeah, it's really, really lovely. Claire from the next day jumping in just for a moment. Oh, my jumper's changed, because I realised before we move on to the plants on the next hanging rail, I actually missed a couple of things, and I can't believe I missed these plants because these plants are just awesome. We're going to ignore the mess out there. We've actually got some nesting toads that are living under boxes, so we're just leaving the boxes there. But this one here, how could I forget to show you this? It's one of my favourite plants. And this one is the Musa Florida. And again, I got this one from a place called Downtown Plant Club, which I've only ever used the once, but I had a really good experience with them. And it was so much smaller when I first got it. If you stand back and look at it now, you can see it almost looks like a little tree. It is sizing up so much. But yeah, I had quite a struggle acclimating the plants, if I'm being honest. I lost loads of leaves. I ended up chopping back so much of the roots. I had to do quite a lot of rehabbing with this plant in order to get it back on track. But now it is doing so much better, and I'm growing it again in semi-hydro just here. It is growing like crazily quickly at the moment. I have actually said in videos, I'm not sure what I'm going to do if it keeps growing at this rate, because a lot of my plants get big fast, sorry. This one is just moving at a whole other level. Like this leaf here unfurled like 2 days ago, I think. And already if you look down into like the base of that leaf, that little black thing that you can see is the start of a new leaf starting to push out. Like it is just constantly giving me growth. Also, something that I found really funny, when I first heard about this plant, I think I was reading about it on Reddit or something. Someone had said that they thought that this one reminded them of a barcode because of its leaves. And I know that would put some people off, but that really made me laugh. And so, yeah, that's what I always think of when I look at that plant now. But then next to it is another Alocasia. This is my Alocasia Regal Shield. Again, absolutely love this Alocasia. This was very special, actually. This was given to me by one of the producers on BBC Gardener's World. I did an episode for them, oh my goodness, probably getting on for about 3 years ago now. What? How has it been 3 years? And they saw, obviously, that I really liked houseplants, and they had loads of corms, and so brought this to give me, and it is just stunning. I was speaking earlier in the video about guttation, when plants kind of leak from the tips, and this one I watered I filled the reservoir yesterday or the day before, and as you can see, it is processing a lot of that water and releasing what it doesn't need. This one has been probably my easiest alocasia in terms of robustness. Like, it's very hardy compared to a lot of my others, and although it does require high light, it doesn't need quite such intense light as some of my other ones. Like, I would never consider it a low light plant by any means, but if I was to grow it like there, for example, it probably wouldn't mind. The one thing that I will say is that I have struggled with pests on this plant, and right now, yeah, I want to say we're in the clear, but it has not always been that way. I do also just love the dark undersides of the leaves. They're so gorgeous. But yeah, it is just a really, really great one. And I think the only other thing down here that I have figured out that I have left out as I've been going through and doing the editing is just some little propagations down here, which usually I wouldn't be that fussed about showing you, but they're rooting and it's quite fun. So let's take a look, shall we? This is Sansevieria metallica, which is a Sansevieria that I really love. I've already said in this video, like, I'm crazy about like weird and wonderful Sansevieria. The pot again is from the place that I spoke about earlier that I will link down below. But I chopped up this from the mother plant, which is actually out there still. It's been out there for a really long time, along with some other plants that are not happy and I do need to attend to. That tends to just turn into like rehab/graveyard out there. But yeah, it hasn't been that long since I chopped them up. I think it's probably been a month and a half, and already if I just lift them out, they're just in water, but look at all of that, so many roots already. So yeah, I should really pot them all back up, and then I'll have my Sansevieria going again, which is really good because I was worried I was going to lose this plant at one point. But yes, I think those are all the things that I missed, so let's carry on from where we left off. Editing Claire out. And then this Hoya here, this one, oh, I feel bad. I need to actually give this one some proper TLC. This is my Hoya carnosa, and this again is very, very special because this was given to me by one of my friend's granddads who grew this plant, and it's done so well. It was literally just little cuttings when I first got it. It's done really well, and also this one came with me to Malvern when we built the show garden that won the best in show, which was very exciting. But that one was part of the show garden. We mounted it onto a piece of wood and it went onto the jungle side, and it was lovely having it there. And my friend took some pictures and showed her granddad, and it was really lovely. But since I've come back from Malvern, the plant has not quite been the same, and I think really I need to get in there and I need to get it out and have a look at the roots, because on camera, maybe, I don't know if you can really tell, it always looks a bit flat and dehydrated, even though like I watered this plant the day before yesterday. It shouldn't look like this right now. It's like when people like, look how floppy those leaves are. Yeah, you shouldn't be able to do that with healthy Hoya leaves. I know some people say like, oh, do the taco test with your Hoyas. Like when they need a drink, they'll have really floppy leaves. I really feel passionately that that is not the case. I don't think a Hoya's leaves should ever be allowed to get this floppy. That is not a good thing. So yeah, I suspect root issues. I must get in there and I must figure it out, or I need to chop up the plant and start again because it's such a special plant. I really love it and I don't want to lose it. And then also, while I'm showing you fun things on the wall, one of Ross's friends carved that TheJungleHaven sign for me a while ago, which I love. So in the unlikely chance that you're watching, Tom, thank you so much. And also my wonderful friend Gabby made that leaf out of clay and painted it for me, which I just think is lovely. But the last plant down here, is that right? I think so. The last plant down here is another Hoya gracilis, and this is the one that I showed you at the beginning of this video over there at the top of that shelf, and I was like, it's a really low light plant. This one is obviously growing in very different conditions lighting wise, but is also doing really well. It's so gorgeous, it's so waxy, so robust. It's just a really, really, really pretty plant. I've never managed to get this one to flower though. I've always wanted to get it to flower, but I've had no such luck so far. So if any of you have any tips, please do let me know. But this is one that has just proven how insanely adaptable it can be in so many different conditions. Again, standing back and looking into my plant room, I just love the I don't know, the delicate leafiness of that plant. It's just really lovely and it makes me very happy. And yeah, so that is pretty much everything plant-wise down here. If you joined this tour, however, without watching part 1, then you are only halfway through. So I will link the part 1 video down below. I do also have some plants upstairs and I will put some clips in of them now so that you can see them. I don't have nearly as many upstairs, and to be honest, there's some that are really not in a very good state at the moment. I've got so many plans for things that I want to do upstairs in my house, but to be honest, I just haven't got around to doing it yet. So I will be sure to document it all on my channel and show you when the time comes. So make sure you're subscribed to be notified of that, and I will absolutely show you around when it's done. If you enjoyed this video though, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, have a lovely day, and I will see you in the next video.